Hey y'all, it's Addison Rae
and Sheri.
Welcome to our podcast, Mama Knows Best, a Parcast original. Every week, we'll explore the touchy subjects of love, dating, relationships, and growing up.
And I always know best.
Or do you? And just a friendly reminder, you can find episodes of Mama Knows Best for free, exclusively on Spotify.
Remember to follow the podcast so you never miss a brand new episode every week.
So on today's episode, we're going to talk about our first time in Los Angeles. Let's get into it. My first trip to California ever in my life was it was for my 16th birthday. I came with my mom, my best friend from high school, and my cousin. So we came. It was not with the whole family. My dad stayed home with my brothers, and my mom took my friend and my cousin and I all to Los Angeles because for years, I dreamt of LA. If you knew me in middle school and high school, you knew I was obsessed with Los Angeles. It was super quick. We planned it so fast. And I was honestly didn't believe it till it came, we all were kind of is this actually happening? I think, was that your first trip to LA too? Or to California?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was my mom's first trip to California and my first trip to California. We had no specific plans, did we?
None.
It was not planned out at all. It was all right, we got a place to stay and let's go. We got plane tickets. Let's head out there. What did we even do the first day? I remember we got off the plane and we went to pick up a car, to rent.
Yeah.
We rented a car and we did our makeup at the car rental place.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were in the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom, had all of our makeup spread out all over the floor. With our luggages, we were trying to change outfits.
We were we can't look bad.
No, we were we cannot look bad. We are in Los Angeles. We must look like we are celebrities. We got to pick up our game. So, that's just our mindset. I mean, I was literally, I think I either had just turned 16 the day before or I was still 15. I don't know. But I was I have to look like I'm famous. I have to look great. Paparazzi's going to see me acting like I even knew what that was. It obviously realistically was not going to happen. No one knew me. So coming here at that age, genuinely, I was all right, I got to look my best. I got to look the greatest. Who knows? What if I'm just, I don't know. I used to come up with these unrealistic scenarios for me coming to LA for the first time and be I'm going to get
But
seen.
they're not really unrealistic.
No, they're not.
I think others think that way too.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's unrealistic. But I would think that, oh my gosh, I might get spotted. Or who knows, a big giant celebrity might fall in love with me on the street and then here's my love story. You never know. So I would literally just be I have to look my best so that just in case someone falls in love with me and I'm famous the next day.
I think that's every person's thing,
for sure.
though.
Yeah,
going through their head, as they grow up.
Yeah, you're if Justin Bieber
if
locks
I could
eyes
just
with
get
me,
in front of them,
I for sure convinced myself that. And I think I used to think that at concerts I'd go to.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, if they look at me in the audience for 1 second and I fakely laugh or something, I got them. They're in love. They're going to find me. I think what convinced me so hard of this was Justin Bieber, honestly. Because Justin used to do One Less Lonely Girl. And he would get a girl from the audience and bring her on stage and sing One Less Lonely Girl to her. And he'd have a rose for her. And it was always a random girl from the audience, right?
Yeah.
So I think that convinced me that it was possible to be that random girl that the singer or artist or celebrity falls in love with. And then your love story begins there, I don't know. And I used to read all these weird fan fiction things about One Direction and Justin and all these. When I was in elementary school, I'd read these Wattpads and it'd be artist falls in love with a fan. And then I'd put myself as the fan that the artist falls in love with and I'd be yep, this is totally going to happen. I just need to get that opportunity to be there. So we ended up staying at this timeshare in Bakersfield, which is so far from Los Angeles that we didn't even know. I mean, I didn't book this trip, so I guess you just didn't look either. I mean, I guess, honestly, when we looked at it on a map, we were oh, that's not bad, right? Because we drive a lot.
Right. We drive from Louisiana to Texas. And
it's no big deal.
4 hours.
Exactly. But with traffic and everything, it's this was so much more. And also, us thinking realistically we were going to drive that every day to get to LA was crazy. So we had to wake up at 4 a.m. I remember we would wake up at 4 a.m. to drive to LA. Get ready, drive to LA. I would sleep the entire drive because I was this is ridiculous.
Y'all all slept. I didn't.
We all slept. My mom drove.
Then at some point, we were we can't do this anymore.
So we
rented a place in LA.
In Hollywood. Remember?
Yeah.
It was that hotel in Hollywood that had that really pretty like rooftop area.
Yeah.
So we were like, we cannot do this anymore. We are going to drive this 5-hour drive, whatever it was. It felt like 6 hours, 10 hours, honestly. We were driving this 10-hour drive. We were like, we can't do this. We got to stay in Hollywood to be close to everything. Like we said, we didn't have anything planned out for this trip at all. Like in the slightest. Like there was no...
When do we ever have anything planned?
Never. No plans. We were just kind of like, let's go here, let's go here, let's go here. I remember we went to Sunset Boulevard, we went to Rodeo. We kind of just walked around everywhere, and like, what else did we went to the Hollywood sign at one point. And I went to a dance studio that same day and like did some dance classes because I was super hardcore into dancing at the time, more than I am now. Well, first of all, it's not kind of hard to dance now at a time we're at, but like at the time I was like dancing a lot. I went to dance studio, went to some classes. Then we went
to several different ones.
Yeah, it's like several studios and like did classes and kind of was just like taking a lot of like the classes that are super popular in LA. So I did that. Then we ended up going to the Hollywood sign and I still have photos like all up by the Hollywood sign. And I remember the outfit, everything about those pictures was horrendous, except for the fact that we were by the Hollywood sign.
I remember just being like so scared because there's no specific way to get to the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, like it's not like an attraction. Like you can't just be like, Hollywood sign, let's go there.
So like the direction that someone gave us was just go up these little narrow roads in a neighborhood. And at the end of it, it was like no parking.
Yeah, like there were signs everywhere that's like, you're going to get towed. You cannot park here. There's like security.
What do we do now? Like, so y'all got out the car and I stayed and never went up there and saw. But I remember texting you 1,000 times, don't do anything up there where you could fall off the mountain. Don't do a handstand. Don't do a flip. Don't do a kick or something dance related and I did. Slip off the mountain.
And I have photos of me doing all those
I didn't
things.
know what it looked like. I didn't know how steep it was, how, I was just so worried.
And then when we got back down to the bottom, I showed you all the pictures of me doing all those things that you said not to do.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Richardson. Along with Greg Polson, I host a podcast that I know you will love called Serial Killers that is unlike anything you've ever heard before. We tell the stories and get into the psychology behind the most nightmarish murderers who ever walked the earth. We cover all the big names, their minds, their methods, their madness. From the son of Sam, David Berkowitz, and the co-ed killer, Edmund Kemper, to Jack the Ripper and Ted Bundy. But we also cover names you may not be familiar with, like Death House landlady Dorothea Puente, who had 9 bodies buried in her backyard, and Anna Marie Hahn, who worked as a live-in caretaker for elderly men, but used her expertise in poisons to kill them and claim their life insurance. Every Monday and Thursday, get to know the killers, crimes, and cases that forever changed the face of history. Follow the Parcast original Serial Killers, free on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Driving in traffic in LA wasn't that bad. I don't mind it. The only thing that concerned me was running red lights in order to take a left turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At some point, I did it, but I didn't comprehend it until
you had to watch everyone do it.
A bunch of people laid on their horn on me as I was waiting to be able to turn.
Yeah, I remember that because we would sit at a green light like just sit there until there weren't cars, and it would rarely happen. There would rarely be a time when it's a green light and you can just go left because there's no one coming. And so I remember we were sitting there and they were like for sure laying on the horn when the light was red, because like it's like right after the light turns red from green, they want you to go.
Yeah.
Like they want like 5 cars to go on this red light. So that was for sure an interesting thing.
I was
remember
so
we almost
scared. I was like, what? I don't know what to do. There's no turning arrow. Like, when can I go?
Yeah,
you know?
that was probably like the weirdest thing about getting used to.
Yeah. And you remember like not having a sense of direction, but feeling like, wait, I think we're going in a square.
Yeah. And it's like
several times.
Yeah. It's all connected kind of here, you know? And like you think it's way bigger than it is almost, you know?
Yeah.
Like everything is kind of in this general area when you first come to LA, like all the you know, hot spots, like the food places that everyone says you should eat at. Boa Steakhouse is like this steakhouse in LA that's like apparently a Hollywood like hotspot. You know, like you see people there. That's where like the celebrities go. So we had looked that up because we were like, we need to eat dinner one night somewhere where we can like spot celebrities and see them, you know?
Yeah.
So I remember we looked up Boa, and then I looked up the menu, and I think a salad was like $30 or something. And we were like, nope, not going there. And I remember we were all like, oh, we want to go. But then we continued to look at this menu and we were like, there is no way we can pay for this, because we just were not thinking it was like even reasonable to have a salad that was $30 or anything. A lot of the things I remember about this trip were, first of all, I was like hunting down everyone that I could, like I would like not literally Googling anything, but I was for sure like had an eye out for every like celebrity I could see, because we were just so in awe. Like I remember we saw so many people on Melrose. Remember, we were like shopping on Melrose and we were like, oh my gosh, there's such and such. There's this person, there's this person. And we were like in such awe because we were like, I can't believe we're seeing these people in real life. So I think if you want to come to LA and, you know, see people or like recognize people in a respectful way, I'd say fun places to go in general, even, you know, regardless of if there's celebrities there, or like to go eat. I mean, there's for sure like Boa there. It's a little more on the pricey side for sure, which is what made us not go there. Then there's Earth Cafe is a good one. I feel like it's a really public area where you could possibly see someone. The Grove, I feel like you don't really see people that much, but it's just a good place to go in general.
Yeah.
It's really big. There's a lot of shops. Melrose for sure. That's where I saw like a few people I recognized was Melrose. But like I kept my distance, and we literally wanted to go up to them so bad. But I remember I was like, no, we're not doing that.
It was almost like we were like, just pretend we're normal. Like,
just pretend like
don't
they're normal. Yeah. It was so funny. I don't know. It was kind of a good approach, to be honest. But now I'm like, you know, I'm glad I didn't ever go bother these people, because like I feel like I would feel so bad now, you know, like knowing that they were probably busy and like doing something, and I was like bugging them. But I think for me, on the other end of that, so like me now, when people do notice me, I don't care who comes up to me. I would like totally have a conversation, you know, like, and I'd talk to them and be like, hi, you know, nice to meet you. I don't know. That's just a personal thing though. I feel like, cause I can't say that for everyone. I can't say everyone wants people to come up to them when they notice them. You know, for me though, I'm perfectly fine with it. I think I'd rather people come up to me if they recognize me than take a photo from a distance, which I think is another big thing too. Yeah. Because we would do that. We would take photos from a distance or like record them from a distance, you know, and it'd be like, you'd think that you were respecting them more by doing that, but it's almost like the opposite, I feel. Yeah. Now, you know, I'd rather someone come up to me and be like, hey, let's take a photo. When someone takes a photo of you from like a distance and you're unaware of it, it's just, and you see that photo later on or anything, you're like, oh, darn, I wish they would have just came up to me and said, hey, you know? I don't know. Maybe that's just a personal thing. I'd just so much prefer like people come up to me, you know, if like you recognize me, never feel like I don't want to talk, you know, or like never feel like, hey,
or if you call out my name, I'll turn around.
Yeah,
and
if you call my name,
smile,
for sure. If you call out my name, I'll turn around and say, hey, you know. But like, you know, you should never feel like
you can't
embarrassed, or like scared to say anything, because I think for I can speak for most people, I'd say they'd prefer you to just be like, hey, you know, and like let them acknowledge that you're there and everything. So now that we've kind of discussed, you know, what got us to LA for the first time, which was my 16th birthday, let's give some other tips for newbies that visit LA for the first time. Guess that kind of, starts one off. So my mom said it's really hard to drive the first time you're in LA because it's like very weird. First of all, there's not left turn signals, which is really weird. There's a ton of traffic, which for us, I feel like wasn't too bad because we lived in Houston for a while. But like other than that, it's still weird to get used to the time, frames of traffic and then like where the most traffic is. So like it's honestly easy to Uber. If we could have changed anything about our trip, I think we should have Ubered a little more than driving everywhere, because it was kind of hard finding parking and then valet and then like, I don't know, it's always difficult to find
That was the thing.
parking.
Like I remember not seeing very many things because I would drop y'all off and ride the block about 1,000 times until they text me because I couldn't find a parking spot.
Yeah, it's super difficult to find parking. So I'd recommend your first time to LA probably to Uber the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Stay somewhere close, an Airbnb, a hotel, whatever. But for sure, Uber instead of like getting a car.
Unless you have somebody like me that's willing to
drive.
To not get down everywhere.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mom, for being like that.
Basically, I was an Uber driver.
Yeah. Basically, for that trip, you were an Uber driver that just didn't get a tip from us. And I remember too, I think, if I had to change anything about our trip, our first time, I think it was an amazing trip and it was so much fun, but I do wish we had a little more planned out. Like I wish we knew where we were going to go next or like the next day, go here, do this. I remember there were so many museums we wanted to go to that we just didn't because it was just like you had to plan that ahead of time,
Yeah.
And then I remember we even very briefly went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame because my cousin and best friend wanted to go shopping. Remember that little store that was like, everything is $1.99 only right now. And it's literally like that for the entire month.
Was that the one where I once again dropped y'all
No,
on the
you
side
didn't
of the
drop me
road?
off. I drove with you. I stayed with you. They got out. They just got out by themselves and went to it. But that's one of those stores that are like all over Hollywood Boulevard where it's like, everything in the store is $1 only for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it like resets every 30 seconds. It's like the same 5 minutes. So I'd say the top 3 things to do when you come to LA for the first time or California for the first time is 1, stay close to where you want to do things around, right? So like have a hotel or like an Airbnb, a place to stay that's close to everything you're interested in doing.
Yes.
And then number 2, I'd say do not get a car, get an Uber.
Yes.
I think getting a car is good if you like want to stay further from the city, but if you're in the city, it's just so much easier to get an Uber or Lyft or, just any kind of car service just because you never can find a place to park when you try to go places. And it's just so much more convenient. You don't have to make sure you're paying your parking meter, which is another huge thing that's like so ridiculous because I always, there's limits on parking meters and I'll always like do it when I go to the hair salon or something. And then it always runs out and I have to come back with a ticket. So that's always something
I never
you
understand them either. Like
how am I supposed to go back outside and put in money when I'm getting my hair done? I don't know. Just very annoying. And it's just like you literally could have prevented it and it's like $1 difference. It's like I either pay $1 to go back out there and put money in it or I get a ticket for $70,
Yeah, I remember having to set phone alarms on
to go back out.
How long
like
was
if you're
it gonna
shopping
expire.
If you're shopping on Melrose or something, you literally have to keep going back to that meter and putting money in, which is so annoying. So Ubering is definitely easier in that sense.
Yeah.
The third and most important thing is, I'd say, to have a plan when you come to LA. Have a plan, know what you want to do, write it down, all the things you want to do, when you want to do them, and kind of have like time slots, almost like a really important business week when you come here. Know your plan, know your times, get your tickets for things ahead of time so you're not stressed out. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week with hopefully another great episode.
You can find all episodes of Mama Knows Best for free exclusively on Spotify.
Don't forget to follow the podcast and we'll bring you a brand new episode every week.
And if you like this show, follow @Parcast on Instagram and @Parcast Network on Twitter.
And if you guys have any questions or topics that you guys want us to talk about, you can tweet me @WhoIsAddison or find me on Instagram and DM me @Addison Rae with 2 E's at the end.
Or me @Sheri Nicole, that's 2 E's at the end, on Twitter and @Sheri Easterling on Instagram.
Thank you guys again for listening. We love y'all so much. See you next time. Mama Knows Best is a Parcast Studios original. It is executive produced by Max Cutler. Sound designed by Jamie Ryan. It's produced by Kristen Acevedo, John Cohen, and Jonathan Ratliff. Mama Knows Best stars Addison Rae and Sheri Nicole.